War and Peace is the masterpiece of Leo Tolstoy, one of the greatest writers in Russian and world literature. Written between 1865 and 1869, it is widely regarded as a pinnacle of 19th-century literature. More than just a novel, it is a sprawling epic that seamlessly blends history, philosophy, and fiction. Hailed as the crown jewel of Russian literature, it continues to captivate readers with its rich storytelling and profound insights into human existence. Set against the backdrop of the Napoleonic Wars, the novel focuses on Russia's struggles between 1805 and 1820. It spans a crucial period in Russian history, moving from the glittering ballrooms of St. Petersburg and Moscow to the harrowing battlefields of Austerlitz and Borodino. Tolstoy masterfully intertwines the personal lives of his characters with the sweeping historical events that shape their destinies. The novel deeply explores the duality of human existence during times of conflict and peace. Tolstoy portrays war as a destructive force, not only on the battlefield, but also in the lives of individuals and families. In contrast, peace serves as a time for reflection, healing, and the pursuit of deeper meaning. Tolstoy also questions the balance between free will and destiny, pondering whether individuals are mere pawns in a larger scheme or active participants in shaping their lives. Amidst the chaos, the novel highlights the enduring power of love and the importance of family, showing how relationships can provide solace and purpose even in the most turbulent times. Through its characters and themes, War and Peace paints a vivid portrait of humanity caught between the forces of history and personal longing. It invites readers to reflect on timeless questions. What drives us to fight? What sustains us in times of hardship? And where do we find meaning in a chaotic world? The story opens in the glittering world of Russian aristocracy, a society marked by opulence, tradition, and subtle political intrigue. It is the year 1805, and the Napoleonic Wars loom on the horizon, casting a shadow over Europe. The novel's first scene unfolds at a grand soirée hosted by Anna Pavlovna Scherer, a maid of honor and a prominent figure in St. Petersburg's elite social circle. Her salon serves as a microcosm of aristocratic life, where politics, gossip, and personal ambitions intertwine. At this gathering, the guests engage in lively debates about Napoleon, whose meteoric rise as Emperor of France has unsettled the European powers. Opinions are divided. Some view him as a revolutionary hero, while others see him as a dangerous tyrant. This political backdrop sets the stage for the novel's exploration of the interplay between personal lives and historical events. Pierre, the illegitimate son of a wealthy count, is an awkward and socially inexperienced young man. Unlike the polished and calculating nobility around him, Pierre exudes a clumsy honesty that sets him apart. At Anna Pavlovna's soirée, his lack of social graces makes him the subject of quiet ridicule, yet his intelligence and sincerity hint at his potential for growth. Pierre's life takes a dramatic turn when his father, Count Bezukov, dies. Despite his illegitimacy, Pierre is named the sole heir to a vast fortune, catapulting him from obscurity to one of the most sought-after men in Russia. This sudden windfall sparks a bitter feud among his relatives, who had hoped to claim the inheritance for themselves. Unprepared for the responsibilities and manipulations of high society, Pierre finds himself overwhelmed, beginning a journey of self-discovery that will define his character throughout the novel. In sharp contrast to Pierre's naivety, Andrei Bolkonsky is a man of sharp intellect and refined manners, yet he is deeply dissatisfied with his life. Married to the beautiful but superficial Lise, Andrei feels trapped in a marriage devoid of emotional connection. The constant frivolity of aristocratic life weighs heavily on him, and he yearns for a sense of purpose. At the soirée, Andrei's cynicism is evident in his sharp remarks about the futility of the conversations around him. Disillusioned with the shallow ambitions of his peers, he decides to escape this stagnant existence by joining the army. Leaving behind his pregnant wife, Andrei seeks to find meaning and honor on the battlefield, hoping that war will provide the clarity and fulfillment that his current life lacks. While Pierre and Andrei wrestle with existential questions, Natasha Rostova represents a starkly different perspective. A spirited and innocent teenager, Natasha is introduced through her family, the Rostovs, whose warmth and love stand in contrast to the cold, calculated world of the nobility. Natasha's world is filled with dreams of romance and adventure. She is untainted by the cynicism of adulthood, embodying a youthful exuberance that will later collide with the harsh realities of life and love. Her innocence and vitality make her one of the most endearing characters in the novel, and her growth becomes a central thread in Tolstoy's narrative. As Napoleon's empire grows, Russia finds itself drawn into the tides of conflict. The aristocratic salons of Moscow and St. Petersburg buzz with news of war, and the men of noble families, including Andrei Bolkonsky, prepare to join the Russian army. For Andrei, the war represents a chance to escape the emptiness of his privileged life and prove himself in a world of action and honor. Meanwhile, Pierre Bezukhov, newly wealthy but spiritually adrift, struggles to find his place in this rapidly changing landscape. His naive demeanor and newfound status make him a target for those seeking to manipulate his fortune. One such person is Helene Kuragin, a strikingly beautiful but calculating woman who sets her sights on Pierre. Andrei enters the army with a sense of purpose, hoping that war will offer him the meaning and distinction he has been seeking. At the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, a defining moment in Napoleon's campaign, Andrei experiences firsthand the brutal reality of combat. The battle, a catastrophic defeat for the Russian and Austrian forces, unfolds in vivid detail through Tolstoy's masterful depiction of chaos, fear, and heroism. During the fighting, Andrei clutches a standard, determined to rally his troops in a moment of idealistic fervor. However, his attempted heroism ends in disaster as he is struck down and left gravely wounded on the battlefield. Lying among the dead and dying, he gazes up at the vast, indifferent sky and experiences a profound epiphany. The glory and honor he had sought are illusions. Instead of fulfillment, war has brought only suffering and futility. Rescued and sent home, Andrei's physical wounds slowly heal, but his spirit is deeply scarred. Upon his return, he is met with devastating news. His wife, Lisa, has died in childbirth, leaving him with a son he struggles to connect with. Andrei withdraws into himself, grappling with existential despair and questioning the purpose of life in a world so full of pain. While Andrei faces the horrors of war, Pierre's struggles take place on an entirely different battlefield, the glittering, deceptive world of high society. After inheriting his father's vast estate, Pierre becomes one of the most eligible bachelors in Russia. Unprepared for the machinations of the elite, he falls victim to the charms of Helene Kuragin, whose beauty masks her cold and self-serving nature. Despite his misgivings, Pierre allows himself to be manipulated into marrying Helene, a decision he soon regrets. Their marriage is loveless from the start. Helene's infidelity and relentless pursuit of status deepen Pierre's feelings of isolation and dissatisfaction. Trapped in a gilded cage, Pierre begins to question the very foundations of his life: wealth, marriage, and societal expectations. Desperate for meaning, Pierre turns to Freemasonry, drawn by its promise of spiritual enlightenment and moral clarity. He immerses himself in the rituals and teachings of the Masons, hoping to find answers to his growing existential questions. Through Freemasonry, Pierre learns about the ideals of charity, humility, and the search for truth. However, his attempts to apply these principles in his personal life often end in frustration, as he struggles to reconcile the lofty ideals of the Masons with the harsh realities of the world around him. Despite his setbacks, Pierre's journey into Freemasonry marks a turning point in his character. It sets him on a path of self-reflection and growth, laying the groundwork for the deeper spiritual transformation he will undergo later in the novel. As the years progress, Andrei and Pierre's paths diverge, yet remain connected by their shared quest for purpose. Andrei, disillusioned by the false promise of glory, retreats into solitude, while Pierre, burdened by the emptiness of wealth and privilege, begins to question the values of his society. Both men grapple with the same fundamental questions. What gives life meaning? How does one navigate a world filled with suffering and injustice? Amid the backdrop of war and societal upheaval, a chance encounter sparks a profound connection between Andrei Bolkonsky and Natasha Rostova. The meeting occurs at a country estate, where Natasha's vivacious spirit and innocence breathe new life into Andrei's wounded soul. For the first time since the death of his wife, Andrei feels a sense of hope and renewal. Drawn to Natasha's unbridled energy and charm, Andrei proposes, and she accepts with unreserved joy. Their engagement marks a turning point for both characters, promising redemption for Andrei and a new chapter of emotional growth for Natasha. However, Andrei's father, the stern and controlling Prince Bolkonsky, demands a delay of 1 year before the marriage. Andrei reluctantly agrees, believing that the time apart will only deepen their love. As Andrei departs on a journey abroad, leaving Natasha to await their future together, the innocence of her youth becomes a double-edged sword. Thrust into the glittering world of Moscow society, Natasha's naivety and longing for excitement make her vulnerable to the attentions of Anatol Kuragin, Helene's charming but morally corrupt brother. Anatol, a consummate manipulator, is immediately captivated by Natasha's beauty and sets out to win her affection, despite being secretly married. Through flattery and calculated advances, he dazzles Natasha with promises of love and adventure, preying on her youthful dreams and longing for romance. Overwhelmed by his charisma, Natasha becomes infatuated, and Anatol convinces her to elope with him. Anatol's scheme, however, is thwarted by Natasha's cousin Sonia, who uncovers the plan and intervenes. The attempted elopement is exposed, and Anatol flees, leaving Natasha humiliated and devastated. The scandal spreads quickly through Moscow, tarnishing Natasha's reputation and alienating her from society. The betrayal also reaches Andrei, who is heartbroken and enraged by Natasha's perceived disloyalty. Feeling betrayed on the deepest level, Andrei breaks off the engagement and withdraws into an even deeper isolation than before. His idealistic vision of love, rekindled by Natasha, is shattered, leaving him bitter and disillusioned once more. Natasha, overwhelmed by guilt and heartbreak, sinks into a deep depression. Her vibrant spirit is dimmed, and she isolates herself from the world, consumed by regret over her actions and the pain she caused Andrei. Yet this period of suffering becomes a crucible for her growth. Under the care of her loving family, especially her mother and cousin Sonia, Natasha slowly begins to heal. Her remorse is genuine, and through introspection, she emerges from her despair as a stronger, more mature woman. Natasha's journey of redemption reflects Tolstoy's belief in the resilience of the human spirit and the power of personal transformation. During this tumultuous period, Pierre Bezukhov becomes an unexpected source of solace for Natasha. Witnessing her suffering stirs a deep empathy in him, and his innate kindness leads him to offer quiet support and understanding. Unlike the superficial judgment of society, Pierre sees Natasha not as a fallen woman, but as a young person grappling with the complexities of life and love. Unbeknownst to Natasha, Pierre begins to develop romantic feelings for her. His admiration for her resilience and authenticity deepens, and he finds himself drawn to her as more than a friend. Pierre's growing affection becomes a silent yet powerful force, planting the seeds for their eventual connection. In 1812, Napoleon launches his fateful invasion of Russia, setting the stage for one of history's most dramatic military campaigns. As French forces advance toward Moscow, the Russian people unite in defiance, driven by a profound sense of patriotism. The war reaches every corner of Russian society, forcing the characters to confront their personal struggles amidst the chaos of a nation fighting for survival. Andrei, still disillusioned but determined to serve his country, rejoins the army. He commands his regiment at the Battle of Borodino, one of the bloodiest confrontations of the Napoleonic Wars. Tolstoy masterfully depicts the chaos and carnage of the battlefield, where soldiers fight not only for their homeland, but also for their sense of honor and identity. During the battle, Andrei is gravely wounded by a shell. As he lies in the field hospital, surrounded by the groans of the dying, his mind turns inward. The ideals of glory and heroism that once drove him now seem meaningless in the face of suffering. His thoughts shift to forgiveness and love, and he begins to long for reconciliation with Natasha. When Andrei is transported to a safe location to recover, fate intervenes, reuniting him with Natasha, who has been helping care for the wounded. Overcome by remorse and compassion, Natasha tends to Andrei with unwavering devotion. The reunion brings a sense of closure to both characters. In his final days, Andrei finds peace, letting go of his bitterness and forgiving Natasha. He dies in her arms, leaving her heartbroken but transformed by the depth of their connection. As Andrei faces his final battle, Pierre Bezukhov finds himself drawn to Moscow, where the French invasion looms. His idealism and growing sense of duty lead him to the burning city, just as Napoleon's forces occupy it. The fiery destruction of Moscow is a turning point in the war. Tolstoy vividly describes the inferno that consumes the city, a symbol of both devastation and resilience. Amid the chaos, Pierre witnesses acts of both cruelty and kindness, deepening his understanding of human nature. Determined to make a difference, Pierre hatches a reckless plan to assassinate Napoleon, believing that one decisive act could change the course of history. However, his naivety and lack of preparation lead to his arrest by the French. Imprisoned as a suspected spy, Pierre is stripped of his wealth and status, thrown into a world of suffering and deprivation. Pierre's time as a prisoner becomes a crucible for his spiritual awakening. In the harsh conditions of captivity, he forms a bond with his fellow prisoners, including Platon Karatayev, a simple yet profoundly wise peasant. Platon's acceptance of life's hardships and his ability to find joy in the smallest moments profoundly influence Pierre. Through his suffering, Pierre begins to let go of the material concerns and existential doubts that have plagued him. He discovers a newfound appreciation for life's fundamental truths: love, kindness, and the interconnectedness of all people. The philosophical musings of Pierre during his imprisonment reveal Tolstoy's own views on faith, morality, and the endurance of the human spirit. When Pierre is eventually freed after the French retreat from Russia, he emerges a changed man. His experiences have stripped away his pretensions and self-doubt, leaving behind a renewed sense of purpose and an unshakable belief in the power of human resilience. Following the harrowing destruction of Moscow and the grueling Russian winter, Napoleon's once mighty army retreats in defeat. The war has exacted a heavy toll on Russia, leaving behind a landscape of devastation and loss. Yet, as the nation begins to rebuild, the resilience of its people shines through. This sense of renewal mirrors the personal journeys of the novel's characters, whose lives have been forever changed by the conflict. After his release from captivity, Pierre Bezukhov returns to Moscow a transformed man. The idealistic but restless young nobleman who once sought meaning in wealth, Freemasonry, and political schemes is now grounded by a profound understanding of life's simple joys. His spiritual awakening during captivity has given him a newfound clarity and inner peace. In Moscow, Pierre reconnects with Natasha Rostova, who has also undergone significant growth. The once innocent and impulsive girl is now a woman shaped by heartbreak, loss, and resilience. Natasha has been deeply affected by Andrei's death and the suffering wrought by the war, but she has emerged stronger, with a deeper appreciation for love and family. Pierre and Natasha's reunion is both tender and transformative. Pierre, now free of his past insecurities and doubts, approaches Natasha with quiet strength and genuine care. Natasha, drawn to Pierre's kindness and newfound stability, finds comfort and solace in his presence. Their relationship is not born of youthful infatuation, but of shared understanding, mutual respect, and a desire to build a life together. Their marriage is a testament to the enduring power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. It signifies a new beginning for both characters, one rooted in the values that Tolstoy holds dear: compassion, family, and a connection to the rhythms of everyday life. As the years pass, Pierre and Natasha settle into a quieter existence. embracing the joys and challenges of family life. They have children and build a home filled with warmth and love. Pierre, no longer consumed by existential questions, finds purpose in his role as a husband, father, and active member of his community. The conclusion of War and Peace underscores the novel's central themes of redemption, renewal, and the search for meaning. Through the lives of Pierre and Natasha, Tolstoy demonstrates the resilience of the human spirit and the potential for growth after suffering. Their union is not just a personal triumph, but a reflection of Russia's recovery after the war, a nation and its people finding strength and purpose in the face of adversity. The novel also explores the idea that true happiness is not found in grand ambitions or societal approval, but in the quiet, everyday moments shared with loved ones. By focusing on family, community, and inner peace, Pierre and Natasha achieve a sense of fulfillment that eluded them in their earlier lives. Tolstoy ends the novel not with dramatic events, but with the enduring rhythm of life. The story's resolution, rooted in love and family, highlights the timeless values that transcend the chaos of history. By anchoring the characters' journeys in personal growth and the bonds of family, Tolstoy invites readers to reflect on their own lives and the sources of true meaning and happiness. It is a reminder that even in the aftermath of destruction, there is the possibility of renewal, and that the enduring power of love and humanity can triumph over the darkest of times.